In the last few weeks, you've seen several attacks in Plateau, Borno, and the resurgence of Boko Haram's tactics of developing IEDs and dropping them on the path road for soldiers to step on. And even in Abuja, about a week or so ago, someone was caught with IEDs. And the governor of Borno State has been raising the alarm that Boko Haram is resurging. Now, there is need for us to have some understanding of what is actually happening. With me to discuss this matter is the well-known Professor Tajudeen Akanji, a lecturer at the University of Ibadan and a resource person to several organizations, including the Nigerian Army on security matters. Prof, you are welcome.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
Yes, people want to have a sense of what is happening in Nigeria today. So, what is your take? What is actually happening in terms of security? The Borno State governor is complaining. We're hearing that a new group or a franchise of Boko Haram Mahmudas are operating around Kainji and so forth. What sense do you make of what is happening?
Well, as for me, I think we have not had a kind of a concerted and a well-planned, systematized way of addressing the issue of insecurity that we are facing. We have many times been politicizing something that requires direct attention, things that is not peculiar to Nigeria alone, because insecurity has become a global scourge and many nations are actually facing and addressing the issues without actually politicizing. But you see, many of the times when we hear people talk about this now, the interest is to try to, on all sides, to try to put politics into what is actually happening. I had the opportunity of having interaction with not less than 5,000 detainees of Boko Haram. So I understand their thinking because when I served as a member of Presidential Committee on Special Detainees, I was the only professor in that team. So I had this thing, especially in the production of the reports and everything. What we saw and what we have been seeing that are happening is that there are more politics in it than the realities that we have in it. And these Boko Haram are not imported from anywhere. They are in our midst. They are listening to us. They listen to the same radios. They listen to the same news. Many of them have infiltrated our, government and security agencies, even though we say that we don't have evidence to show that they are there. But you see, the fact is this. They are there. Otherwise, why will it be that Boko Haram or all these insurgents will attack our military men, our security forces, seize our equipment, and start to use the equipment against us immediately? Where did they trade? So you can see that we are actually recycling the same set of people that are there. And the issue of insecurity has gone beyond the idea of looking at those that are putting on uniforms alone.
One of the challenges about this is different interpretations are often given to the different types of security situation in the country. We hear on the other side the things happening in northwestern Nigeria, the northwestern states, or like Zamfara and Co. We hear that they are bandits. In the central areas like Plateau and Benue, we hear that they are Fulani men. And then in the northeast, we hear that they are Boko Haram. What are actually the differences between these groups?
You see, whatever type of criminality that you see in the society, most times criminalities fester on opportunities. Whichever one is applicable in one place may not be the same thing that we have in other places, and some of them they metamorphose into each other. So whether it is banditry, whether it is Boko Haram insurgency, whether it's terrorism, whether it's the kind of criminality that we see from other places, all of these are happening because the perpetrators know that there are opportunities to carry out these criminalities and go away without being punished. So we have all these things. They are all ingredients of criminality. They are all ingredients of terrorism. They are all ingredients of the insurgencies that we see. So whichever way in which the perpetrators find it necessary for them to be able to do is what they are going to use. We are actually in an era in which we call the risky era, where Criminality does not have a particular locus of where it is coming. It can come from different forms. In places where we don't have a Boko Haram attacking, we have young unemployed people who are creating a dating site, bringing young people to where they are, killing them, taking their organs, marketing these organs and selling, making it difficult for people to be safe in schools. I have a group that we are actually talking about fighting against the bullies in schools and all those things, making schools safe. Criminality is just in every corner because the opportunities are there for people to perpetrate them without being caught. Unless we raise the bar of punishment, we raise the bar of addressing the issue, then we are going to have it in different forms, depending on when they study, what they study that we work in a particular place. If the opportunities are not there, they are not going to do it. So if they see that there is opportunity for banditry in this particular location, you will see banditry that is first in there. If they see that there is an opportunity for insurgency in a particular location, insurgency will be there. Farmer other conflict will go up in the places where the opportunities that are there. We have a large number of young people without jobs. We have poverty everywhere. When I delivered my inaugural lecture in 2018, the title of my inaugural lecture was When Labor is the Beginning of Insecurity. I traced poverty in the workplace to some of those things that are fueling insurgencies and all these things that are happening in everywhere that we see. So you can see that it's not a thing that is located in one particular. If it was located in one particular area, it would have been easy for us to address. But because these things come in various forms, that is why an approach now we work at this particular time when the other ones, when they see that this one is going up and is disturbing them, they bring another approach. So all these things are just in different forms in different parts of the nation. It's just a sign of the bad times that we are in.
Now, Prof, when you speak of opportunities, what actually are you talking about? The common, what do you mean by opportunities? That if
Yeah,
they have opportunity, what do you really mean?
you know, it's just like corruption. When there is an opportunity for you to perpetrate corruption without being caught or punished, you continue to do it. For example, if somebody knows that a particular place is well policed, and he knows that if he goes into that particular place, he's going to be called, he's not going to do it. A Nigerian driver who will drive rough Nigeria and then will disobey all laws and try to do anything. When he goes to the US or to the UK, he becomes one of the most behaved drivers that you see around. Because he knows that there are opportunities in Nigeria to commit this crime without being caught, but the opportunities don't exist in these other places. So the Boko Haram are festering on the fact that there are opportunities for them to carry out their nefarious activities without being caught, or when they are caught, they are not being appropriately sanctioned or punished. So when they see that opportunity, they continue to do it. But if somebody knows that by the time he commits an opportunity, a crime, there are nations in this world that when you still look at, very recently they were just brandishing the situation where a particular Nigerian has about 753 house outlets in the country. Some other places, such a person will face a different punishment. And nobody will dare try that. But you know that when you do this one, the opportunity for plea bargains is there, opportunity for you to look at the loopholes in our laws are there, then you are going to carry it out. So that's what I mean by opportunity. Opportunities for them to carry out these activities without being caught, or when they are caught without being punished.
Are you referring to the state of policing, the law enforcement, the fact that the state institutions are weak?
Yeah, capacity of our security situation is still part of it. You understand that? Look, let me tell you, for example, our constitution says that the lead agency for internal security operation is the Nigerian police. All right. Now, Boko Haram insurgency, is it an internal security operation or an external security operation? It's internal. The police as we have it today is the police well equipped in terms of training and equipment and men to be able to confront Boko Haram? The answer is going to be no. And when you put police in some places to say that they should be the one that is providing security for the people, are the citizens going to feel safe? The answer is going to be no. So you can see that our approaches addressing it in terms of equipment, capacity, and organization and all these things that they are really very suspect. Then the issue of interagency cooperation collaboration and coordination is still there. Where some agencies believe that this is my area, nobody should come into it. Where some agencies believe that, look, what do these other agencies, what do they know about what we are doing? Or what do the civilians know about what we are doing? What can the communities offer? So all these things are loopholes that Boko Haram insurgents are actually aware of because they are living in our midst. And because of the awareness of such loopholes and weaknesses, they take that opportunity to be able to continue to perpetrate the crimes that they are perpetrating.
Now, Prof, you have raised several issues, but let's take them one by one. The first one is you said these criminals are living within the communities. Now, what there to do by government to delink them from the communities?
It is not the government alone that will do it. It means the communities themselves must feel committed to be able to say that we need to make our communities safe, our environment safe. Where somebody commits an offense and the community members see this person and they see cover up such a person. There was a time in this country where they said some women were forming Yahoo Mothers Association. So how do you expect the police to be able to go into a community to say that they are arresting these Yahoo perpetrators when their mothers are forming an association to protect them? How do you blame the mothers of these Yahoo mothers when in actual fact it is these criminals that are providing lodges for them to be able to live? How do you expect a Nigerian worker to shun corruption when in actual fact what you are paying him, the government itself knows that the salaries that you are paying a Nigerian worker living in Abuja is less than 200,000 naira per month, and you know that you cannot get a house, you cannot maintain a life like that. So already it means that you also understand that there is room for him to carry out corruption. So you can see that the whole system is there. So the communities themselves must be able to know that the issue of insecurity is not limited to physical security alone. It's not about defense. It is something that has to do with making the whole environment a suitable place where everyone is a partaker and a stakeholder. Somebody will sleep and sit there and say that it's only the people that are carrying arms that will be able to provide security for them. The kind of security that we desire today goes beyond the one that you can get from the barracks of the gun. It's the kind of security that is the whole of the system, the whole of the society, the whole of the government, everyone being part of this issue. So I look at the situation where when there is a problem of insecurity, the government agencies, they rush at inviting the heads of security agencies to come and discuss the issue of insecurity. Look, it's just like using those that are not concerned to be able to find. How will those ones be responsible for providing jobs for young? How will they be able to be responsible for providing food for those that are there? How will they be responsible for making the farm safe for farmers to be able to produce food for the citizens? So it's a thing that involves every one of us. Unfortunately, we continue to address it in the same way and expecting a different answer. I'm afraid we may not get it.
Yeah, still on this issue of the capacity of the Nigerian military, there is this argument that Nigeria is under police. Nigeria does not have enough security personnel for a start for the nature of the security challenges that we have in the country, as well as the population, the ratio of armed personnel to the civilian population. Do you think that is really the challenge that we have?
I don't believe in that. You understand it now? I don't believe in that. It's just because we over centralize everything that we are doing. How do you talk about the number of policemen that we have? When in actual fact, many of these policemen are attached to VIPs to protect them. Some of them are sent to go and stay in the banks to be able to protect them. Some of them are available for rentals by even the so-called Yahoo boys that they are policing. Whenever those ones want to go out, they go and hire policemen who are going to sit in front of their jeeps. They drive and nobody stops them on the way and all those things. Where did we put the place of technology? How do you say, even if you have 1,000 policemen, 1 million policemen that are manning our bank, how do they police the young unemployed graduate who is very vast in artificial intelligence, who is inside his house with his computer and his internet, and is able to rob the whole bank of everything that they have without actually going out or raising any gun. So you can see that it's not about the issue of having the number of security men that are there. It has to do with what we call security sector governance, the way in which we organize our security sector to be able to provide this thing as a public good, to be able to provide security as a public good. Everyone is supposed to be part of it. For example, why should our policemen be the ones that are following monies from banks, from central bank to the various places that are there? These are some of the things that private security agencies are carrying out and all those things. But because we are not organized, we don't do that. Security is supposed to be an area that is providing employment, jobs for people in places that are well organized. In many places where you see our men that are going to work outside, they work as security men and all those. But because we have put everything about security as something that has to do with regime security, where it is only the government that provides it, that is where we are now counting numbers and we say that we are not having enough. And in places where we have a system that is working, that is providing it, there are nations that don't have standing army and they are very peaceful. I visited Dubai police headquarters sometimes ago when I went for a police symposium in Dubai. Dubai is one of the best police cities of the world. And they demonstrated to us how they were able to police those using technology. We have enough men to be able to do that in this place. When we were trying to set up a security policy for the university, we brought in young men that are able to do things that are here. These are things that even our universities, our professors can provide here. But a situation where you do not look at their side, the only thing they look is to bring in people that are contractors that are going to spend money to be able to do this. That is where you always have the wrong, erroneous belief that we do not have a disease. The number of make about 100 million out of the 200 million Nigerians, turn them into policemen. If we see organize you are policing in the way in which you organize it today, they are still going to do the same thing. I'm afraid we only need to look at our security sector governance and make it a way that it will be able to provide security for us as a public good. That is something that address our needs the way in which we need it.
Okay, the military has complained about the fact that they to clear places of insurgents and then they leave those places and the civil authority does not have civil police to go and take over, and so the bandits to occupy those places.
That's the challenge, the problem of interagency cooperation, collaboration, and coordination that we talk about. A situation where we have proper coordination and proper collaboration, which involves joint training, which involves joint capacity building, which involves joint planning, which involves joint intelligence gathering, which involves the belief in the capacity of the different agencies to be able to work together. These are the things that we are going to be able to address. For instance, some of the challenges that we saw that the military and those that were fighting Boko Haram insurgency were facing at that particular time was because of the narrow nature of those people that were at first at the theater of operation, where we now have a situation where you arrest a Boko Haram detainee, is expected to be treated in a particular form, and you do not have all the necessary information for you to be able to handle the situation. It is just because you have not exhausted all the benefits of interagency cooperation, collaboration. Normally, when the military are degrading the enemies and they are capturing and moving from one particular location to another, they expect other agencies to be able to establish hold on the areas where they have captured. So how these people establish holds on the areas where they have captured when they have not, in the first instance, planned together, trained together, work together? Then you cannot, just like you want to form a national team, and then you just bring people from various places to come without actually planning for them. If you have very strong scorers in the front, but you have very weak defenders at the back, while you are scoring, your opponent will be scoring more, and then after some time you become demoralized and all these things. So a situation where the military is complaining is because there have not been opportunities for them to train with these other agencies. And there are also the issue of superiority complex and inferiority complex. There are certain agencies feel that We are the ones that are fighting this, and even government recognition of one agency more than the other in addressing the issue of insecurity. These are things that actually breed the loopholes. And like I told you, these insurgents are living in our midst. They understand these gaps and they will always use the gaps against us. So we must have a structure through our developed security sector governance which promotes interagency cooperation, interagency collaboration, and interagency coordination so that everyone will realize that the challenges facing us are enormous and there is no one agency that can address all of them. All of this must be addressed together. Let me give you, for example, when the government, when the securities, we had the problem that we had, that led to a series of deaths and all those things in Lagos and everything that happened. Many of the perpetrators of these things were students who at that particular time were at home and were not in school because ASU was on strike. For example, the issue of education sector and ASU was not allowed to remain at home. If this thing was happened, government is carrying police to go and police outside that they were not able to do successfully. University systems and lecturers would have been able to do it by just bringing out the examination timetable and all the students will run out of the street and run back to the classrooms. But because we believe that these ones have got nothing to offer to us, and that is the reason this is a nation where they hate knowledge. And it's unfortunate, anywhere where they hate knowledge, all the things that we are planning, they are not going to stand because you actually need knowledge to make them to be able to stand. These are the situations that we are facing. The issue of intelligence cooperation, collaboration, and coordination, which is a very important component of security sector governance, which is also part of the security sector reform, must be a way by which we can address that.
The implication of what you are saying is that we are still a long way off having peace in the country.
I don't think it's a long way. It only needs our dedication to be able to do so that we do not leave it to the leaders or to the government alone to be able to do it. Look, a bad clock is going to be correct at least twice in a day. No one will say that the government has not actually put in a lot of efforts into all these things. But where the military is trying to help, the state governors are not providing the opportunity for them to have this. Some of these people look, my experience in interacting with these detainees, there are young boys and girls of between the ages of 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 whose responsibility are just to go onto the roads, create ditches so that the armed personnel carriers will not be able to move, and when they move, they get stuck. While they are stuck, these people come to attack them. Is it the military that is coming to help you that will also provide the access to that are there? Until that time, when we are able to address all the issues that are bedeviling us together, then, and this is not a thing that we take the whole fortune to be able to achieve. Once we become committed to it, we only need a leader who is committed and is ready to do it. Like what we see that people are talking about the efforts of the governor of Borno State that is waiting. He alone will not be able to do it because once he gets it and there are loopholes elsewhere, just like you have a very big team, a very good team, that has just one weak player, one defender. It is through that particular place that others will be coming to create the problem. So we are working on it, but we cannot get the result until we try to put this thing on a good system where everybody is ready to work together. Once we are able to do that, then we can achieve it.
As we run off, Prof, is there any link at all between what is happening in the Sahel and Nigeria?
Of course, seriously. I remember that from 2 weeks ago, I was at the ECOWAS at 50. And at the ECOWAS at 50, I presented a paper on the role of the ECOWAS in security sector reform and peacekeeping operations. And one of those things that we look at there is that we're looking at an ECOWAS that is now going to have a second S that is in the front, which is going to be Economic Community of West African States and the Sahel. Because there is no how where problems will be happening in the Sahel and we think that we will feel very safe here. There is no how we can maintain our security sector. This is looking at the borders that we have in the north and all those things that are there in this region. And looking at the so many other implications that we have around that place, issue of climate change, issue of weather, issue of pastoring, and a number of other issues that are there. And we think that our efforts will work very well. So the things that are happening around us here is a reflection of what is happening in those various places. You can even see that in our own area within this thing, look at the rate at which, while we are talking about democracy in some places, some nations are saying that what we call our democracy is a military rule and all these things that are happening. So the things that are happening in the Sahel actually have implications for what is happening in Nigeria. And that is why some people are hoping that ECOWAS will expand and understand that they cannot exist and survive and succeed as ECOWAS alone. But when we have an ECOWAS with a double S, which is going to have economic community or West African state and the Sahel, that is when we can talk about the security integration, the economic integration that ECOWAS is expected to provide in the region.
Thank you very much. The last few minutes we've been speaking with Professor Tajudeen Akanji, and a security expert from the